flare can ruin a perfectly good shot, and here at DXOMARK we have developed a solution to measure it under controlled conditions. So we have tested 4 flagship devices. They are an Apple, a Google, a Xiaomi and a Honor, and compared the performance in terms of flare, both in RAW format and in the final RGB images. The flare bench is composed by a strong light source that is collimated towards the lens of the devices and that can emulate the effects of the sun, the moon, or even strong directive lights such as the headlights of a car or a spotlight in a club. In order to have a complete flare analysis, you have to test every single angle, which we do using our automated arm that can move the source around. These are the heat maps of this position. They indicate, according to this color scale, how much flare there is in that position. The red indicates a strong flare, the green indicates more feeble flare, and if there is no flare at all to speak of, it will be blue. So when the source is in the field, and specifically when it's close to the center of the picture, for the 4 devices we see roughly the same qualitatively behavior, meaning that we see a strong flare around the source itself, and then a ghosting flare, meaning a reflection of the light, somewhere else in the picture. However, we can notice that quantitatively there is a strong difference. Specifically, devices like the Apple tend to have a very strong and rough pattern figure of flare around the source and a very intense ghosting flare, whereas for instance the Xiaomi, it has a much smoother appearance of figure of flare around the source and it's much dimmer reflection. As you move the source towards the edge of the framing, you start to see the importance of testing systematically every angle. Because once you think that the flare has completely disappeared, you actually start to seeing figures of flare appearing in the center of the image. These are almost not noticeable for the Apple, but they are present in the Xiaomi and in the Honor, and they're actually quite strong in the Google. Flare is an effect that depends on your lens design, so you would expect that the raw measurement is enough to predict what happens in RGB. And in most cases this is, but it could in general be slightly different because some algorithm in the pipeline of the smartphone, especially if it's a flagship, could attenuate or even completely remove this flare. Nevertheless, in our comparison today, every effect that we have seen in RAW, we have found in RGB. So we have seen how even for flagship devices, flare is still an open question, that even the most advanced pipelines they're not completely remove. We have devices like the Xiaomi who overall handle flare pretty well. We have others like the Apple on the Honor, which have some flare pretty much uniformly in different angles. And others still, like the Google, where some angles are very clean and some others are very strong flare. Here at DXOMARK, we will keep testing flare and other image quality metrics to keep challenging mobile phones, even the most advanced ones.